Imagine being able to text a video of your grandparents to your kids or share a childhood memory with your siblings in seconds. Legacy Box makes it that easy. Just fill your Legacy Box with all your analog media. Send it to our headquarters in Tennessee, where we digitize everything by hand. And in just a few weeks, we'll send back your originals, digitized, preserved, and stored in the cloud, so you can easily stream, download, and share your memories anytime, anywhere. Join the millions of families that have trusted Legacy Box. Go to legacybox.com/value for 50% off. That's legacybox.com/value for 50% off.
Summer's here, and you can now get almost anything you need delivered with Uber Eats. What do we mean by almost? You can't get a well-groomed lawn delivered, but you can get chicken parmesan delivered. Sunshine? No. Some wine? Yes. Get almost anything delivered with Uber Eats. Order now. Alcohol in select markets. See app for details.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Summer's here, and you can now get almost anything you need delivered with Uber Eats. What do we mean by almost? You can't get a well-groomed lawn delivered, but you can get chicken parmesan delivered. Sunshine? No. Some wine? Yes. Get almost anything delivered with Uber Eats. Order now. Alcohol in select markets. See app for details.
The KFH Studios, powered by Devon James Injury Lawyers. Call 888-8888.
That's 888-8888.
From the Accident Recovery Team Traffic Center, don't worry about me, I called ART.
Traffic.
Moderate to heavy rainfall here in the Wichita area. Roadways wet and slippery out there this morning. Do have a stalled out vehicle as well. Watch for a slowdown on this westbound Kellogg right at I-135. Traffic update from 98.7 and 1330 KNSS in the Accident Recovery Team Traffic Center. I'm Jad Chambers.
Weather.
Showers and thunderstorms remain a possibility on Tuesday through the morning and right into the afternoon. Some of the rain will be heavy in spots. We'll start the day in the mid-60s, reach a high of 75 with the wind turning to the north in the afternoon. Some drier weather should return on Wednesday. That's your Storm Team 12 forecast. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ross Jansen.
Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH Wichita, KNSS HD2 Clearwater, an Odyssey Sports Station.
Hey Wichita, it's Jacob Alfrock. Stay right there for the latest breaking in sports talk. It's Sports Daily coming up next, exclusively on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Jim Rome here with your Rome Report. The NBA Finals are set, and already there's a ton of hand-wringing about how we got stuck with two small market teams. The ratings are going to be non-existent. Nobody outside these two small markets is going to care, right? No, what we got were the two best teams in the NBA. Isn't that the whole point? Who cares where they play? Are OKC and Indiana supposed to apologize for being better than every other team in a major market? I actually love the matchup because the Thunder, having won 68 regular season games, were absolutely supposed to be here. And despite making the conference finals last year, the Pacers were picked in the preseason by almost nobody to advance to the NBA Finals. So don't tell me how uninteresting this matchup is. What you're really saying is your team didn't get in, or you're just a part of the internet flock of sheep that is saying the exact same thing because you don't have an original thought of your own. Because this matchup is interesting. I am Jim Rome. Remember, you can follow me on the X platform at Jim Rome.
Are you a parent of a 2 to 8-year-old? Listen closely for an exciting offer, then head to abcmouse.com/radio to learn more. By now, you've probably heard of ABC Mouse.
ABC Mouse is like a little one-on-one teacher. It has helped her so much.
We're offering a promo at abcmouse.com/radio to try it for free for a month, then $14.99 per month until canceled. Go to abcmouse.com/radio to see this offer. That's abcmouse.com/radio. Actual ABC Mouse users compensated for their testimonials, sponsored by Age of Learning.
1 in 4 Americans have a disability. I'm one of them. I'm also a working mom who cares deeply about making sure every child with a disability thrives by getting their access needs met. We've got a trusted ally by our side. Easter Seals provides children and families the foundation for lifelong success through early learning programs, skills training, and prep for college and career. That's my Easter Seals. Make it yours. Join us at easterseals.com.
Now, from Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily with Jacob Albrock and Tommy Kester.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Happy Tuesday to you here on Sports Daily. A rainy Tuesday morning. Rain through most of the night. We'll always take the rain. Jacob Albrock, Tommy Castor, Max Power here with you on a Tuesday. We're getting ready for the Cags debut tonight. Royals get a series going up in St. Louis, and Jack Caglione will get, we assume, we haven't seen the starting lineup yet, but we assume will get his first start as a Kansas City Royal on the road. We've seen now the video, the call-up video, it's all there. But we'll dig into what we should expect out of Jack Caglione, probably up slightly earlier than the Royals would have preferred, but honestly, the Royals don't have much of a choice right now. So we'll get into that. We talked a lot about it yesterday. We'll look at the actual baseball today a little bit, maybe some predictions on what he can provide this team. That is all, that is all going into today as we get ready for it, Tommy. I mean, we've been, it's odd to get the call up, late in the day after a game. And then you get a day off, and then you get it's been a minute. You get the call, and he's got some time to acclimate, so that should help. We might look ahead a little bit to the NBA Finals. Those begin later in the week. We've got football talk to get to today. Our Chiefs insider, Felix Johnson, joins us. We'll get, predictions maybe on minicamp. He's got thoughts on a potential new dome in Kansas. There's been some reporting out about the cost of these things, whether they pay for themselves. We might talk a little stadium talk today as Missouri just continues to kind of spin its wheels in the mud on trying to get anything done here, trying to get special sessions, but not even taking measures up. They don't seem quite as functional right now as Kansas legislature, so we'll see, but we'll evaluate that a little bit as well. You've got a chance to win some Crestview golf today again. I was told we had a massive turnout for the first day of the contest to win a round of golf out of Crestview Country Club. Great supporters of the program that we appreciate a great deal, and we are very excited to bring the opportunity in the month of June to get some listeners out there to check things out, play a little golf on just a great facility, and you'll have another opportunity there to enter that contest to win some golf today. So stay tuned for your opportunity for that. Stay tuned for your opportunity, as always, to win some HTO as we make our way through as well. Tommy, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Happy Tuesday. Good to see you today. I'm a little bummed I missed out yesterday to talk all about Cags. I know we'll talk more about Cags today, but I missed the show when he got called up. And hopefully you and TJ, I'm sure you guys are able to, dig deep into all of that.
Yeah, we were, and we will today, because I want to get your thoughts on it. It's been an interesting psychological experiment, I think, with the Royals this year, as things that just continued to seem like too early continue to get amplified and amplified and amplified. And it's June 3rd. I mean, it's, we're not even halfway through the season yet. And a lot of this stuff is probably on us a little quicker, but it's out of necessity. So we'll get into all of that as we get through it. It's exciting. Look, I as prospect call-ups go, and I heard, I think it was, I've heard everybody talking about him now. It's this, prodigious power, but there are red flags. Like, there are reasons to be cautious as well as excited that we've just got to bring out to the forefront here as he's just fly. This time last year, he was playing in the College World Series. This time last year is when most of us learned who he was to begin with, right? We were watching Florida and they were doing their thing. But we'll get into it. Hey, did you see Texas Tech knock off Oklahoma last night? Walk-off?
I did. How
Texas
about that?
Tech famously spending like $1 million on the softball program this year. Goes in, takes down the 4-time defending champion Oklahoma.
Yeah.
See, to me, that's everything right about NIL on the transfer portal. You had some booster somewhere that's like, you know what? I'm sick of this. we're going to have a great softball team. And then boom, you go in and you do something like that. I thought that was really cool. It reminded me of when TCU played for national championship in football, right? At some point, you get people fired up and rallied up enough, you can go in and do something special. And don't tell me it only exists in the SEC or the Big Ten. Texas Tech just did it in the Big 12 in Lubbock, Texas, right? And I think they still have one of the top transfer classes in college football too. So, it can happen anywhere. You just have to get people motivated and inspired. And we'll see how that goes as the College World Series continues on in both baseball and softball. Are you fired up at all about the NBA Finals, Tommy? I mean, the Thunder are in it. I feel like we should be. I hope it's a good series. That's kind of my fear at this point, is that it's not a good series.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm probably more excited about it than I would have been if any other team had gotten in. Honestly, I was having this conversation yesterday with a couple of guys, and they were like, "Man, like, do you think anybody's going to watch it?" I'm like, "No, I think people will, because you've got teams that have never been, at this point before. I mean, they've not won championships before, and I think that with the regional appeal of a team like Oklahoma City in this part of the country, I think it's going to be exciting. Now, will it be something nationally that people can really get behind? Probably not. Probably less so than if like the Knicks were in it. But I think at the end of the day, you've got two teams that are really good, really well coached. They've got players that are able to execute in a clutch capacity for sure. I love the way Oklahoma City plays defense. And so I think it's going to be a good series just because of that.
Man, I hope so. I hope it doesn't get swallowed up in the nonsense. And I heard the Rome report, and that's this thing I've been saying forever. Like, all you're going to hear about is, it's small market teams and nobody's going to watch. And it's like, I mean, basketball fans are going to watch, right? Like, I don't know with the NBA anymore, like what casual fans are fired up because it's the Knicks. I mean, the NBA doesn't really have that player right now. Maybe it's LeBron James still. Like, they don't have that, if like, who is the player right now in the NBA, regardless of team, that would just make you watch for some reason? I don't know that they have one right now. And that's not, nobody's been able to take that mantle, I think, because there are so many good players now. But like, what difference does it make? Like, if you're a basketball fan, you're probably watching as long as the series is good. And I think it's because we have days off before the finals. But all I see when I'm scrolling around in the morning and at night, kind of getting ready for the show is, it's going to be the craziest NBA offseason ever. There's going to be so many trades. I'm like, we got a finals. Like, what are you talking about, the offseason? Like, we're not there yet. We got an NBA Finals, so we'll see. I just hope it's a good series, because the last thing I want to hear about is
I think it'll be a really good series. I mean, I think it will go probably 6 games. That's where I've got it. I've got OKC winning 4-2. I think part of the reason why, those storylines about the offseason are starting to come into play right now, simply because there are no like major marquee players on either team. Like, you've got the NBA MVP in SGA for sure, and you've got Tyrese Halliburton on the other side, but those guys don't get the amount of attention that's what I'm saying the major stars do. And that's why I say there are no marquee stars on either team. I mean, even the Knicks and the Timberwolves have a couple of marquee stars on their team in Brunson, and Anthony Edwards. OKC and Indiana don't really have that. They don't get the attention that the other teams do. I think that's why people are already looking ahead of the offseason.
Maybe. I'm just not sure we've attached to any of these young guys. Maybe we'll talk about this today or another day, but we'll get into it. When we come back, though, we'll talk Cags. Expectations for the young Royals, hopefully star, are next on Sports Daily.
Lightning, hail, tornadoes, flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts, so you can plan ahead and stay safe, no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app Brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite, or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
They're not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood, written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message, so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
Jim Rome here, lighting up your afternoons on The Jim Rome Show. Catch me starting at 2 on Wichita's #1 sports radio, Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
What is GMFB Overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of fantasy. It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together across the country and right here in Wichita. Odyssey also delivers meaningful radio and digital audio results. Find out our story and impact at odysseyinc.com/Wichita.
Make yourself known now. 831001 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you
and inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite, or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
All right, welcome back in, everybody, to Sports Daily. Glad to be with you. Thanks to Prairie Fire Coffee for keeping us fueled up each and every morning here on KFH. Good morning for coffee. A little rain, the rain most of the day. No sunshine. Just get us through there. So thank you to Prairie Fire. All right, Tommy Cags is going to come up tonight, we assume. We don't know where he'll play. I assume he'll play probably out in right field. Maybe they'll let him DH first. I'm not sure yet. We'll get that lineup later as they get ready to start a series against the Cardinals. This has been interesting. There was a point, a month ago? It was about May 2nd, where it was like, hey, the offense kind of sucks. Do we need to be how concerned about this do we need to be? And they're still winning these games, but man, it's a pretty bad offense. It's not just a little bit bad. It's been one of the worst in baseball. They're on this win streak. You didn't subscribe at the time to needing to worry. Obviously now I don't know if it's gotten worse, but it certainly hasn't gotten any better. And in just a month's time, basically, this entire thing has turned upside down, which is what we were afraid of. I guess it was about May 10th. So we're little less than a month. But that's how quickly this has turned, and they've lost whatever it is, 6 out of the last 7 series. They continue to not be able to score runs. The pitching isn't able to sustain that level, even though they're still really good. And then there's the Cags component of, man, he hadn't spent any time in the minor leagues. We can't rush him in. But it's just amplified and amplified and amplified and amplified. And now this thing that he does that they need so desperately, they got to have it. And I hope that doesn't create an inappropriate amount of pressure and expectation for a player who hasn't even spent a full season in the minor leagues yet.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, as far as the pressure is concerned, I would like to think that a guy like Jack Caglione can recognize that pressure isn't on his shoulders. The way of the world isn't on his shoulders. But from an expectation standpoint, I think that it's really important that the fan base and everybody, they recognize that, yeah, he can certainly help the offense, but he's not going to single-handedly turn the offense around for the Royals. I think that's really important to know that, yeah, he can come in, and if he continues to hit at the big league level the way that he's done in AA and AAA, that will absolutely be a shot in the arm to the Royals offense and, should help them, no doubt about that. But is it going to make them automatically a great offensive team from top to bottom? Well, no. He's one guy in a 9-person lineup. And so he can't bat 1 through 9. He's going to have one spot in the lineup. He can produce for sure. And maybe that offensive firepower that he has, if he can show that off at the big league level, maybe that'll be a jolt, a jump start for the rest of the offense. That could certainly be the case. But I also think it's really important that everybody recognizes that one guy cannot come in and just immediately turn an offense upside down and make it a whole lot better, collectively. That's an impossible expectation for a rookie to be able to fulfill.
Isn't it wild, though? I mean, okay, so if it was May 10th, it hasn't been 1 month from the win streak, right? Not even a month later, how much panic has creeped in. Rightfully so, by the way. I don't think it's inappropriate panic. I think it is the appropriate amount of panic to fast-track Caglione, to overreact in certain ways. I absolutely think it's necessary. It's just wild how fast that came at us. Wild. And that was the fear all along, right? It was the fear that, what is going on that this team can't score runs at all? And you just kind of wait for it to come around, and they're hitting the ball. I think it's an identity problem now, and that's why I think Cags is such an obvious move that they had to make. There is going to be the service time thing. Let me put it, let's hope that lingers over the rest of the season, because that'll mean he's playing really well, and it will really help the big league club. I hope we're having that discussion 2 months from now on, oh man, is he going to get first or second in the MVP or in the rookie of the year voting and lose that service time? I hope we're having that discussion. I really do. Not for the Royals, but for the fact that it'll mean probably this season has been reignited a little bit. But you're right. It's not going to be just him. It's going to be that he lifts up some of the power production elsewhere in the lineup. Bobby Witt Jr. hits for a little more power because they're inspired by this young kid. I think the most interesting thing about it to me is where do they put him in the lineup right away? I would protect him greatly. So we talked about this yesterday. I think putting him down at the bottom of the lineup to quote unquote protect him is absolutely not going to protect him and make it much harder on him. And I know that it would be perceived to like add more pressure, but I'm not kidding. I would put him in at like 3, 4, 5, wherever you can sandwich him in between some combination of Bobby Witt Jr., Michael Garcia, Salvador Perez, or Vinny Pasquantino. Wherever he can slide in between two of those hitters is where I would put him. And that probably means he's hitting in the top half of the lineup, because the thing that he does and the thing that he still needs to develop is something major league pitchers are going to feast on. And that's they're never going to give him a pitch in the strike zone. He chases pitches. So that's really interesting for a guy with his skill set. He chases pitches, but he doesn't strike out a ton, which is, it's really interesting to like really look at his numbers. Even if you go back to like college, which I did, he doesn't strike out much. He doesn't walk hardly at all. Like almost like he just doesn't walk much. And that's proving itself out in the minor leagues. But so is the fact that he doesn't strike out. So you're like, okay, well, that's good. But what's wild about that is the things that you hear all the, analysts and he has a chase rate that's among the highest at any level in baseball, which means he swings at pitches. He just hits them. So if you know that and you're a major league pitcher, you're never going to give him a pitch in the zone, ever. Like you would never give a kid who can hit the ball as hard as he can hit it, which is in the absolute top tier of baseball. I heard it yesterday. Passan compared it to like the kind of power Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani have. But if you've got a young guy who swings at everything, you're never going to give him a pitch in the zone, ever. Now, maybe they can hammer it into his brain and he takes a bunch of walks right out of the gates. I doubt it. But until he develops that point of his game, and it took Bobby Witt Jr. until last year, really, to take off with that level of his game. Bobby Witt Jr. is really interesting. When he came up, you remember, Tommy, it was like, oh, maybe if he could get his average up to like 270. I remember talking to Bruce about this, like when he got drafted, like, man, if that kid ever becomes a 250, 260 hitter, look out. And then he's become a 320 hitter. Why? Every year his average has gone up. So if his walks, he's swinging at better pitches. That I don't know if that's Jack Caglione. Jack Caglione swings at more pitches. He makes contact with more pitches. I don't know if he'll have I don't know if he's going to start walking more, but he's going to swing at everything probably because that's what he's always done. Major league pitchers are never going to give him a pitch to hit, like a good pitch to hit. Maybe he can hit him anyway. But so that's why, like, to me, like, now how does Quatraro handle a young guy who hasn't had the time to develop that part of his game? How does he deploy him and honestly protect him from that reality from big league pitchers? Because big league pitchers are going to do that every time. They've seen the videos. They see how hard he hits the ball.
Yeah, I mean, on that note, though, by that logic, and I don't disagree with you that he, should probably be in the top half of the lineup. But by that logic, I don't think it really necessarily matters from a protection point of view. They're not going to give him any pitches, whether or not he's batting third.
Well, so here, I guess here's what I mean. Like, if he's sandwiched in between those guys and you've got a runner on, like, they're not going to not give him a strike necessarily. Like, if he'll sit there and take a walk, and maybe, I think they can talk to him and say, listen, you're not going to get anything early on. Like, they're not going to do that. So don't chase out of the zone and take a walk for now, because at that point, then it's like, okay, well, we can't walk him. We got to nibble. We can't walk him when Vinny's sitting behind him and put two runners on. Maybe we got to nibble a little bit here, and that's where he can strike. Maybe he's not ready for any of this. Maybe it's just like, hey, dude, just get up there and do your thing. And that's probably the right way to go for like the first week or so. But until we see it, here's the other part of that, though. We thought that would happen in AAA. At least I did. That is what happens in AAA. That's where those pitchers who are like up and down from the big leagues, they do that same thing, and they couldn't get him out. So and that's with no protection in that kind of a lineup, right? Like you're not worried about that at that point. So I don't know. I don't know how to set expectations reasonably here for a guy who does this thing so well, but does it a little differently than the great power hitters in the game who are also like the most patient hitters in the game. Typically, he's not that, never has been. And he's been one of the great power prospects we've seen in a very brief amount of time. But even if you go back to college, but it's not been because he just only swings at the best pitches, not that Albert Pujols thing. Like that dude does not swing unless it's a good pitch. That's not Cags. And there have been plenty. Salvador Perez is sitting in that lineup with him and does that too, right? Salvador Perez swings at everything. He's the king of the 0-2 count, but he doesn't strike out at an unreasonable rate. So I don't know. Honestly, you want to know what I think they should do? And they're not going to. I'd bat him third. I'd bat him right behind Bobby Witt Jr. That's where I'd put him in the lineup. Day one and see what happens. That's just me.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, you've got to recognize that he's probably going to come up and do what he does. I don't think that the Royals, with the limited amount of time in the minors that he got, especially at AAA, I don't think they're going to, in my opinion, have a particular agenda for him when he comes in, when he starts for them tonight, this week, this month, however long it is. I think it's primarily, look, we need your power. And so go do what you do. If you're going to chase, you're going to do that regardless of where we're putting you in the lineup, how you're protected, whatever that looks like. We're not going to, off the bat, expect you to do something that you've never done. We're not going to expect you to have the bat on your shoulder and stand there and take walks. And maybe he'll do that by his own accord, and maybe they'll nudge him and say, hey, you've got to be a little bit more selective considering that these pitchers are not going to give you anything to hit. But I think by and large, they're basically saying, with the call-up as early as it is, we need your production, we need your power, go do what you do. And as time goes on, we can always tweak it, we can always adjust it. But I do think that is different than probably what their blueprint was for Jack Caglione when they drafted him. It was probably, hey, let's get him accustomed in the minors to being more patient at the plate. Let's get him, he's already got the power, he's got the raw ability, he's got all of that, and we've seen that on full display. But let's work with him on being a little bit more selective, being a little bit more patient, drawing more walks, not chasing quite as much. They haven't had the luxury to be able to do that at a large scale because he's moved up so quickly and they've needed him so early on the big league roster. So I would imagine they're probably, it's kind of like leaving well enough alone. Like, look, we need your production. Go up there and do what you do. If you're going to chase, you're going to chase, and let's just roll with it. And over time, we'll try to improve that and make that better.
And that's a thing to watch early. I think that's really interesting. At the same time they get to do that, by the way, they get to have this project of him learning how to be an outfielder on the fly. Like both of these things, this is why I think both of us are trying to caution expectation here. He's also going to now be doing that on the fly. And I'm sure Rusty Kuntz is up with him every day, just like he was in AAA, working with him every single day. But you have to now possibly, most likely, be careful of your approach at the plate. And you have to think about becoming a big league level outfielder all at the same time at the big league level. So this is why it's a rush decision for the Royals. Again, they needed to. It needed to happen. I've been advocating it for 3 weeks.
It's the right thing to do. I mean, their hand was forced. It's not ideal. It's not what they wanted to do with Jack Caglione, but it is the right decision.
Yeah. So that also will be happening. I mentioned this briefly yesterday. If you go look at what Bobby Witt Jr. did his first year, he was 22, and isn't Cags 22 right now? So Bobby Witt Jr.'s first year in the big leagues, in 591 plate appearances, he had 30 walks. So it wasn't much, right? Like he did. And then, he was kind of in the same boat. They just called him up. It was time, whatever. Next season, he increased his walk total. Last season, which was his almost MVP season, he really ramped up, almost doubled his walks from his rookie season. And that's what allowed him, I think, to truly take off and have, this kind of unbelievable season. So it took time in the big leagues, but he was able to do it in the big leagues and still be highly productive, by the way. Like, yeah, he got to a point where he almost won an MVP. The year before that, he had a great year. So it can happen. Just be patient with it. Like we had to be patient with Bobby Witt Jr. Like you have to bake in some of that right out of the gates. Now, Cags had, high-level college baseball that Bobby Witt Jr. didn't have, and like all of these things that might help. The outfield thing, I'm not that worried about. I've never have been. He's a pro athlete. He'll be fine. Shagging fly balls basically in right field.
Yeah, I do think that one other thing, kind of circling back to something you said a few minutes ago, as far as the expectations and what can he do for the entire offense and all of that. The problem with putting expectations on what one guy can do to turn an entire lineup around is that it's all intangible. And I think the word that you used a few minutes ago was inspire. Like he can inspire the rest of the lineup. And that is true, but you can't quantify that. Nobody can quantify that. You can't say, yeah, like him, Caglione being in the lineup will raise everybody's, average by X number of points. That's impossible. You cannot quantify that. He can inspire them. Like they can sit in the dugout and watch him hit mammoth moonshots, day in and day out. And they can say, you know what, we want to do that too. Like that can all happen for sure. Or, hey, we're seeing this rookie drive-in runs. We're not able to. We need to do a better job of doing that. That can absolutely happen, but you can't quantify it. And it's really nearly impossible, I think, to put expectations on that. We can say what he can do individually, what his individual production will look like, but man, it's really, really hard to be able to assign a value to what that will do for the rest of the lineup. And that's where I think, I'm not saying that people need to pump the brakes, but I think you've got to be really careful in, again, putting the weight of the world on this kid's shoulders and having this expectation or this thought that he's going to be able to turn around the entire lineup.
Yeah, I think it shouldn't be on his shoulders as much as the team's. Now the team needs to respond. Here are your reinforcements. The Royals went and did something they were probably very uncomfortable with, which was bringing him up right now. They did it. Now go do something with it. The rest of the lineup, right? Now you have it. Like now there's not a more exciting or higher potential player they're going to bring in at the trade deadline. Like they have given you the reinforcements that you need in a very tough spot for the organization to have to do it. They are committing to it. Now go do your job a little bit.
I still believe, by the way, that I don't think their lineup is done. I mean, I think they need
I don't either.
A piece of the trade deadline.
I don't either. I agree with you. But it will be interesting to see, right? Like if with him there, now maybe you do, focus a little more defense on center field. And, like maybe it's okay to have a less productive power-wise couple of outfielders because he's there too. And that, like, I do think it could help. Like, I think it could help lift the boat. Like, it could help lift everything up just because it's so obviously what they've needed out of somebody. And like, it's a skill set. It's all it is. It's a more advanced skill set that they hoped for 2 years to get out of Hunter Renfroe, right? A guy that can come in and add a little pop to the lineup, which is basically what they wanted him to do. And he did it for a minute last year. MJ Melendez did it for the back half of last year. Can this kid do it consistently? Because it makes the offense way better. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll look ahead to the baseball series with the Cardinals outside of CAGs. That's next on Sports Daily.
Lightning, hail, tornadoes, flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts, so you can plan ahead and stay safe, no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app, brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, Tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
They're not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood, written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message, so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
Jim Rome here, lighting up your afternoons on The Jim Rome Show. Catch me starting at 2 on Wichita's #1 sports radio, Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
What is GMFB overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of fantasy. It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together across the country and right here in Wichita. Odyssey also delivers meaningful radio and digital audio results. Find out our story and impact at odysseyinc.com/Wichita.
Make yourself known now. 831001 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you
and inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Everybody, it is a Tuesday on Sports Daily. We're getting ready for a Royals series in St. Louis, a rivalry series. A lot of little things to take away from this series. Before we do that, though, Tommy, let's do some golf. Let's get some folks out to Crestview Country Club to check out the facilities, check out the golf, all of it there for you. So here we go. You can win golf for 2 with a cart at Crestview. All you got to do to enter right now is text the keyword golf to 20357. You can enter once a day, and it's a 24-hour period. Once a day here. We will pick one winner every Friday in the month of June. Message and data rates apply. You can find more details at kfhradio.com, knssradio.com. So again, if you want to win a round for two with a cart at Crestview Inner right now, text the keyword golf to 20357. Take a buddy out, check out the facilities, maybe take the wife out. Get a good look at what we're talking about all the time. Tommy and I are both out there. We always have a great time. Really appreciate their support of this show because it's a place we both really enjoy. Good luck, everybody. We'll do this all month long, and we're really excited to be able to do it and get some folks out there. Let us know how it goes if you are a lucky winner. Here we go. Tommy, again, we mentioned this off the top. As much buzz and entry to any text contest we've had, I was told yesterday, which we assumed would happen.
That's awesome.
We know there are a lot of sports fans. A lot of sports fans happen to be golf fans, and you won't find a better place to go play golf in the area than Crestview Country Club. Good luck, everybody. All right, let's talk Royals here. This is an interesting series, obviously, because the Royals need to win a series. But it's an interesting series because there's a lot of little things going on. We have Cags call-up, obviously. We're trying to see what's going to happen with Cole Reagans coming off. We think he's going to pitch on Friday, but we don't know that for sure. They don't have an official starter named yet for Friday, Saturday, or Sunday this week, or Thursday for that matter. But if you went through the rotation, you could get Reagans in on Friday. He pitched last and his rehab started, I think it was May 31st. So with the day off, if you go through a full rotation, that's where it makes sense on Friday. We'll just have to see. It's right now we know it's going to go Lorenzen and Cameron. And then, the thought is on Thursday, you could get Reagans. Do you think he'll go Thursday or Friday? I don't know what they're going to do here.
Probably Friday, I would think.
That's what I would think too, because if he pitched the 31st, then you'd have, it depends. Are you going by days or games, right? If you go by games, he would pitch Friday. If you go by days, he could, in theory, pitch Thursday. But do you need to? That's probably why they honestly don't have a starter announced yet. They're trying to figure that out. But I would hold him back an extra day if it were me, and I don't know who that means would slide into that spot. I'm not sure. I don't know that I would do it if it means you got to make a bullpen start and the day off. I'm not sure about that. So they got a little bit of a decision to make there. But then after that, we should have Lugo back and all these things. But that's one thing to watch is where does Reagans come back? You've got the Cags thing happening, and you've got one of the hottest teams in baseball that you're going up against on the road in St. Louis. There's a lot in this little series here for the Royals.
Yeah, I mean, there absolutely is. They've got to, stabilize the rotation a little bit. And I think that we've talked about this before. What does that rotation look like once Reagans is fully healthy? What does that mean for Noah Cameron? And, do they try to utilize a 6-man rotation? Do they send him down? I'm not sure with the way that he's performed that you really can send him down. It's a good problem to have. But I think that this series, the way that they deploy their pitchers, should give us a little bit of an idea on what they plan on doing. And if Reagans gets pushed back a day, whatever that looks like, I think by this weekend, at least by the end of this Cardinals series, we should have a good idea on what the rotation will look like moving forward. But that's got to get stabilized and back in good form. The bullpen, with everything else that's gone on, we haven't talked much about the bullpen lately. It's not been phenomenal as of late. And so, that's going to be a key piece of it as well. I do think, and again, going back to the discussion about Cags, it's not like the Royals, just by having Cags in the lineup, will all of a sudden bust out offensively to where you don't have a need for high leverage bullpen pieces on a game in, game out basis. They're going to have to continue to lean on the relievers. And so I think that's a really important piece of it too.
Yeah, I do too. And I'm not sure what's going on the back end. Estevez has been good. And everywhere else it's been just a little bit shaky. We'll see. The thing on the rotation for me is it would be one thing if Lugo was lights out in his first start back from injury, right? If Lorenzen wasn't struggling a little bit right now. I think until you get everybody back and everybody's healthy, honestly, just go with the 6-man rotation for a couple of weeks. I know that they get all the extra days off and it could really mean extra rest. But with Reagans and Lugo both coming back, until they're super sharp, is that the worst thing in the world? Extra rest isn't going to hurt Chris Bubich, who's going to set innings records this year. Extra rest, Michael Lorenzen doesn't care when he pitches. You could pitch him every day. Like, he's got that mentality. So is it really going to hurt anything to just go with, even with the days off, a 6-man rotation to just get things leveled off again a little bit?
I think the only concern with that is that you then have a little bit, you have fewer resources in the bullpen if you're running with a 6-man rotation. Remember, Lucas Ursig is now on the 15-day IL. And that's something that, I mean, I was concerned about that last week when he wasn't utilized in that game. And I know Jalen Thompson said he was sick and whatever. He's dealing with some issues. You know, he's got a back issue. And so he's on the IL. Hopefully will come back quickly. But I was worried that something wasn't right with him health-wise, more so than just him being sick, because he hasn't been effective as of late. Hunter Harvey is still on the IL. So you've got 2 of your 3 back-end bullpen pieces that are now injured. Estevez, yes, has been good. But then from there, I mean, you've kind of got a depleted bullpen to an extent. Yep. And so if you're running with 6 starters, then that's 1 fewer bullpen piece on an already thin bullpen. And so, again, I don't know if you try to make room for another reliever to come up or what that looks like, or maybe it's temporarily, hey, Michael Lorenzen, we need you to pitch out of the pen.
Just Lorenzen.
You know, for the time being. I don't know if that's the case or not, but they need to address that too, because, yeah, it's great to have 6 quality, healthy starters, but when you don't have anybody on the back end outside of your closer, you need to start looking at that too.
And that's Lorenzen. Look, if anybody slides into that role, it's going to be Lorenzen, because he can historically slide in and out of it he did that last year. And that would make sense, but we'll see what he does. They need a good start tonight. So, like, he has a good start, and what you're going to reward him with sending him to the bullpen. So it's an interesting, the first things first, you got to get Reagans back healthy, right? Like, that's before they have any decision to really make. They got to get Reagans back and see that he's good, because Lugo came back and didn't look good at all, right? I don't know that's what I'm saying. Like, do you really feel great about Lugo and the performance he gave you? It was a lot. It was a lot. 6 walks and hits. And what did how long did 3 1/3? Like, I'm not sure they're quite ready to settle things in just yet. So I guess that's what I'm saying. Just wait a second. Like, let's see what Reagans looks like coming back, because he got hit around a little bit in his rehab start.
He did.
So let's see what he looks like before we're ready to send Lorenzen off to the bullpen. I don't know what they can do to fix unfortunately nothing. Unfortunately, they're just going to have to lean on some of these guys to make big pitches in a few innings and in these games. You know what'll help all that? Scoring some damn runs, right? Like, don't make it, hey, bullpen, we got a 1-0 lead here every single night. It's a 1-run lead. If we're pitching with a lead, it's a run. We're never going to give you insurance runs. We're never going to blow anybody out. Like, that'll help too. But there are some decisions to make. And unfortunately for the Royals, you get to make them in a series against one of baseball's hottest teams after, post-April hot teams is St. Louis. They're playing really, really well. The last time we played St. Louis, in mid-May, they were playing really, really well, and they took 2 of 3 from Kansas City at Kauffman, and here they are again. Guess what? They're still playing really, really well, and you got to go to Busch Stadium and try to get it done before you hope that you get to beat up on the White Sox a little bit. So 6 games here, 3 at St. Louis, 3 at Chicago. I say 4-2. I say got to go 4-2 here. I mean, 3-3 is the easy answer. But 3-3 seems like a cop-out when 3 of the games are against the White Sox.
Well, I think you absolutely have to have the game tonight. And I know Lorenzen has probably he's got the highest ERA out of all the starters.
Sure.
But you're taking on a pitcher for the Cardinals and Palente that has been, out of the 3 that you're going to be facing, is probably the weakest out of all 3. You've got Michaelis, tomorrow night. You've got Liberatore on Thursday. So you've got a couple of pretty solid pitchers for the Cardinals tomorrow night and on Thursday night. So you've got to at least get this one. And Lorenzen has got to try to, be able to keep the runs down, at least be able to turn the game over to the bullpen with the lead. that's been the recipe for a long time for the Royals when they had that win streak for success, is that they get out to a lead early and then the starting pitcher holds them down. They've got to do that tonight. They've got to get game one. If you want them to go 4-2 over the 6-game stretch, I think they absolutely have to have game one tonight.
I mean, and plus you can put it in pen that Cags is going to get at least one home run, right? Like, I mean, that's a given. You can count on that.
Okay. All right.
You know what?
Just talked about not having the weight of the world.
I know, right? I know. The thing that people have asked me the most is like, we're being unreasonable with what we expect out of him over the last 2 days, and I'm like, yes, we are. Absolutely being unreasonable in what we expect out of him.
I don't think we're being unreasonable with what we expect from him. I think everybody's unreasonable with what we expect from the rest of the team.
Yeah, I think we're being unreasonable in the fact that he's so talented and does all the he's going to be a rookie that hasn't spent a year in the minor leagues yet. There's going to be some struggle here unless he is. I don't even know of what would the example be of a player that hasn't done that? I don't even know. Who is the player that
probably Shohei. Shohei came in, hit the ground running, and didn't have any time to acclimate. I mean, he was just productive from day one.
But not relative to what he is now, he wasn't. Let me look at his numbers real quick, because I was thinking Acuna maybe. Shohei came in his rookie year at 23, 285, 22 home runs, 61. I mean, I would take that out of Cags for sure. Yeah.
Even Aaron Judge was really good when he first came in, but he wasn't Aaron Judge today when he first came in, right? He was an all-star in his second year in the bigs, but it wasn't like we were talking about him as the greatest hitter of all time until just the last 2 years.
Ronald Acuna in his age 20 season came in and hit 290.
Yeah, probably Acuna's the most recent one.
He was he was a rookie of the year. He was he did that. I think Tatis might have done that. But those guys, again, it's different because those guys came up as minor leaguers as teenagers. So you're talking about Cags, who is a professional baseball player, has done it for less than a year. Right? He hasn't even spent a year in the minor leagues. So we got to give it a minute, but let's not do that. Let's be totally unreasonable with our expectations because it's way more fun. We'll do that instead. We'll come back. We get another hour of Sports Daily coming your way. It's All Brockton Caster. Don't go away. Felix Johnson next hour. We'll talk a little football as we return.
Lightning, hail, tornadoes, flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts, so you can plan ahead and stay safe, no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app, brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite, or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
They're not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood, written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message, so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
Jim Rome here, lighting up your afternoons on The Jim Rome Show. Catch me starting at 2 on Wichita's #1 sports radio, Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
What is GMFB Overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of fantasy. It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together across the country and right here in Wichita. Odyssey also delivers meaningful radio and digital audio results. Find out our story and impact at odysseyinc.com/Wichita.
Make yourself known now. 83101 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Now, from Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily with Jacob Albrock and Tommy Kester.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. Glad to be here with you on this Tuesday edition of Sports Daily. Jacob Albrock, Tommy Kester. We'll give away some HTO later this hour. Stadium talk, Tommy, is maybe where we'll head a little bit here. We've got our Chiefs insider Felix Johnson coming up, and he's been writing about a potential dome. I've said forever, if they're coming to Kansas, they better put a damn dome on that thing, or at least the ability to get a dome. Otherwise, don't bring it to Kansas because you lose the ability to use the stadium in bad weather. It's a stupid thing to do anymore, to build one of these stadiums that can't be multi-use. We'll get into that. Travis Kelce speaking out, Tommy, is Missouri's trying to – Travis Kelce's, preference is to have Arrowhead. It's where he's always played, which is interesting that he would kind of make a stance, even though he's not going to be on the team when the stadium is built, unless he's what would he be? He'd have to be like 45 years old at that point. I don't know what Missouri's doing. So the deadline sort of played, and it's always been the deadline, has been June 30th for Kansas. Kansas has said from the beginning, here's our offer. We'll give you 70%. It's more than we normally give out in these star bonds. You got till the 30th. You better decide. And to me, it just continues to seem like the Chiefs would really like to stay, but Missouri can't do anything. And so what's going to happen here? I don't know, but like I still don't see Missouri making any real progress, Tommy, to anything of substance to get this done. So if you're the Chiefs, like, are you okay being like the second choice? It just seems like to me we're the second choice over here on this side, but nothing's changed. Like, here it is. And the Chiefs are like, okay, but Missouri, Missouri's still gonna what are you thinking over here? They're not gonna match the offer of Kansas. They can't. They don't have the mechanisms in place to do it. So what are we doing here?
Yeah, I mean, I think that a couple things come into play. Number one is the fact that, I think that the Chiefs organization, whether or not they've been public about it or not, I would imagine their preference would be to stay in Missouri. That's where Lamar Hunt founded the team. That's where, he moved them from Dallas to the Missouri side. They've been at Arrowhead for a long time, obviously. Like the legacy, the tradition, the history, it's all there. I would imagine that the preference of the Hunt family is to keep it in the state of Missouri. That's number one. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if, this is going back and forth and the Chiefs are like, hey, last second, Missouri, anything else you can do, anything you want to do? Because we would prefer to stay with you. But then on the flip side of that, I also absolutely think it's the right thing for the state of Kansas to do, to start to hold some feet to the fire and say, look, this is not a deal that will remain forever. We are not going to just sit back and let you continue to go back and forth with the state of Missouri and try to, use us as leverage and play us against them and all of that. This deal will expire at a deadline, and either take it or leave it, and good luck if you leave it. Because Missouri has not shown that they've got the fortitude to be able to make something happen. So I certainly think that we're getting close to the point to where the state of Kansas, for both of these teams, should be able to start to play some hardball and say, look, we've put out a very attractive offer for both of you guys to come across the border. We understand first right of refusal. We understand that you want to do right by Missouri and all of that. But at the same time, this is not an offer in perpetuity. Like, it's going to have a deadline to it. It's going to have an expiration date, and you better strike while the iron is hot, or that deal is going to come off the table. And I certainly think that we're getting closer and closer to that with each passing day. I don't know how likely it is that Kansas will rescind the offer, but if you listen to some of the politicians on the Kansas side,
Clark Hunt has said he thinks that's a real deadline.
The state. I mean, Dan Hawkins, who's the politician on the Kansas side that's been kind of driving this entire ship, has said multiple times there is a deadline to this, and we are not going to extend it.
And there should be, by the way. There absolutely should be a deadline. Look, the great fear again is that they would leave and go to. That's the card that they'll always hold. But I mean, at some point, like, you can S or get off the pot. Like, you can either drag us along while you try to wait for Missouri to figure it out. Missouri doesn't have the appetite for it. Here's a quote from a Missouri lawmaker, Darren Chappell. I'm obnoxious during football season. I've got constituents, though, trying to pay their rent and feed themselves, and they're struggling. And I'm going to take their money and give it to billionaires so multimillionaires can play in a prettier place. That's obscene. And he's not wrong. It is obscene. We should not be paying for these facilities. As a general rule, it's just at the moment the cost of doing business. And so the opportunity that arises out of it, though, is for a state like Kansas, who doesn't have anything like this, right? Like, there's nothing like this in the state of Kansas. The state of Kansas, who is a smaller state, less populous state, looking to always drive economy. That's why star bonds exist in the first place, is to drive, tourism dollars in the economy. Well, there is no bigger tourism draw right now. Well, there are not many than an NFL franchise. And then this, at the same time, a venue to host the biggest events in the world. The World Cup's coming to Kansas City next year. What if that stadium was right across the border? How much of that revenue then goes to the state of Kansas? How many jobs go to the state of Kansas? I've said this before. If that stadium's over here and there is a mid to low level worker working on that stadium that is not from the state of Kansas, and you haven't exhausted every resource to make that a reality, you're not doing it right. So, like, there is a lot that comes with it. Is it going to pay for itself? I don't know. There's great research and reporting on that for days and days and days that says there's no chance it does. There are other examples that it could get close, and there are other examples of what are you looking at to true impact of what this does. Like, is it going to, I don't know if it will directly through dollars generated. That's more up to the people that will fill it up when it's not being used for football or baseball to determine that, I would imagine. But it may not. But is the benefit of what it does for you going to outweigh whatever deficit remains? Those are things that you got to take a leap of faith with.
Yeah. And on that note, I mean, there are countless examples of star bond projects all around the state of Kansas. And I know that there is plentiful research on whether or not those projects pay for themselves or not. And there are quite a few of them here in Wichita that are sports related. There are some that are non-sports related that are, entire districts with shopping and things like that. I think of the K96 and Greenwich corridor, like that's, very much a star bonds area and all of that. But on that note, there has never been star bond projects to the level of this. Even if you look at Legends, you look at Kansas Speedway, all of that pales in comparison to what a star bonds project that would include a potential football dome, a baseball stadium, whatever that is. And we might even be probably are talking about two completely different locations on the Kansas side. They're not going to be in a complex together. This is unlike anything that a star bond has ever done in this state before. So you can look at all the research that's out there. You can read all the articles that are out there. You can make assumptions about the way that star bonds work and do they pay for themselves? Does it ultimately end up on the shoulders of the taxpayers down the road? All of that's all fair, and those questions should be asked. But at the same time, you just don't know with a project at this scale because there's not been a star bond project like this ever before in the state of Kansas.
At minimum, it's going to be 10 times more than Children's Mercy. In reality, it's probably going to be 20 times more expensive than Children's Mercy, which I believe I read last night was $150 million. It's before my time here. But you're looking at anywhere from $1.5 to $3 billion on both of these stadiums. I think a best case scenario for the state of Kansas is for the Chiefs to come and the Royals to play in downtown Kansas City. Like there is very little to no chance. I shouldn't say that because if you get the Royals, you're getting 81 locked in book it dates. I don't know what you do with the rest of the dates, but at least you have 81 of them there. So, and that's more jobs too. That's jobs that many more times. I don't know. It's hard because you're going to find people can job these numbers, Tommy, any way they want to, right? Like it's easy for a detractor to take it and say, there's no chance. This is the math on XYZ. It's easy for the proponents to say, you're not looking at the big picture. How many jobs does it create? How much tax revenue does it create outside of the star bond through income tax and all these things? So you have all these different things. But I think at the bottom line for the state of Kansas, it's pretty simple because it's like, we don't have anything like that. That becomes our greatest tourism export. Our greatest entertainment venue would be these things. Let's take the risk, right? It's no more or less risky than a casino. Like it's, you're just trying to get people to come into your state, and this would do that. You get a Super Bowl, you get a draft, you get like all these things. Eventually, that's the other thing. How much star bond revenue comes if the Super Bowl is here in between that? You want to talk about tax revenue? That'd pay for a large portion of it just through that event, right? So there's a lot to it. Missouri's still not doing anything is the bottom line, though. And they're just still sitting there, and Kansas keeps saying, yo, June 30th is your deadline. And I think the Chiefs believe it as much as they want to continue to court Missouri. I just don't know what they're courting.
I think the Royals believe it too. I mean, it was last week, the day that you were off, when we talked about how the Royals secured that, for the campus, right? And so I think that they believe that that's a real deadline as well. Is it a leverage play? Probably. But at the same time, if I'm a Kansas lawmaker, I'm absolutely going to hold their feet to the fire and say, why in the world would we extend this? It is a It's a fantastic offer to both of these organizations. Why
it's
would
not
we
going to get better? They're not going to all of a sudden say, you know what, we'll give you 90%. We'll come back. Felix Johnson's in. Let's talk about this dome potentially when we return.
Lightning, hail, tornadoes, flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts, so you can plan ahead and stay safe, no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app, brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
They're not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood, written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message, so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
Jim Rome here, lighting up your afternoons on The Jim Rome Show. Catch me starting at 2 on Wichita's #1 sports radio, Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
What is GMFB Overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of fantasy. It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together across the country and right here in Wichita. Odyssey also delivers meaningful radio and digital audio results. Find out our story and impact at odysseyinc.com/Wichita.
Make yourself known now. 831001 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
And now, digging deeper with the teams you follow, it's another Sports Daily Insider interview on KFH.
All right, welcome back in here to Sports Daily. Glad to be with you. Jacob Albrocht here, alongside Felix Johnson. We'll get Tommy back in just a minute. Felix, how's everything going in this lull of the football schedule for you?
It's a good time, it's a good time for people like us to try and scrounge for football content to talk about, obviously, with the Chiefs and everything. There's different things that we can needle around with, and if you want to tinker around enough, you can find something to talk about. But for those looking for like fantasy advice, this is the perfect time to get involved, because you're getting into training camps and different organized team activities, if you will, before training camp. So this is the time of year to get extra educated, if you will.
What's interesting too for the Chiefs, there just really aren't a lot of like storylines for the camps like that might normally be there, because they essentially ran it back.
Right.
Like there's nothing other than, which we're not going to be able to do anyway, watching left tackle play in, shorts and a t-shirt. Like that's the thing. Like that's the question. So it's going to be pretty business as usual here. There just aren't very many questions or storylines, because they brought the same team back this year.
Well, and it was even interesting last offseason where it seemed like every other Kansas City Chief was getting in trouble, whether it was Wanya Morris, and I can't remember, I think it was another offensive lineman got arrested. Obviously, the Rashee Rice incident there, but this is right after they won the Super Bowl. So a little bit of the cloud and then the shade was over it. So now it makes sense. It behooves them to have a more quiet offseason, because they lost the Super Bowl. And so if they would have lost the Super Bowl and then had somewhat of last offseason where everybody gets in trouble for one reason or another, then it would make things a lot more noisy going into 2025. But obviously with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid at the top of your franchise and managing everything, things are going to work out. And so again, this is their time of year. I heard it earlier this week where like a quarterback is more of a management position, like a head coach or general manager is, aside from every other player. I think this is the time of year where Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and Brett Veach shine the most, because this is where you quote unquote build culture. I know that term gets thrown around a lot with Dan Campbell and just about every good team in the NFL, but this is the time of year that you do it in.
Yeah, look, I mean, it is. Culture matters. It's how the Chiefs navigate some of the off the field stuff, is because inside and in the locker room, it always seems so airtight. I also think this is a time for Spags to shine. Offensively, there just aren't going to be a lot of questions. I don't think even a lot of changes, honestly. But man, on defense, they have a chance to infuse some of this young talent that they brought in, maybe work some new things, come up with some new designs. This feels like more of Spags' time defensively to make some improvements and try to install some things to get this defense freshened up a little bit. It's a defense that's been fantastic for 2 years. Make no mistake about it. But it's going to have to continue to evolve, I think.
Right. And I don't know if I 100% agree with you on that. I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing either. It's just that, especially with Spags, he's a defensive backs coach by trade, even more specifically than being a defensive coordinator. So a lot of those defensive backs have been with the Chiefs for a while. We've seen them. We've talked about it 100 times at this point, where 2022 they win the Super Bowl their rookie year. Their second year they win the Super Bowl again. They're playing in their third straight Super Bowl in their third year, and now it's a lot of their contract years. Trent McDuffie, we've talked about all that good stuff. Now I think that there's an infusion of talent in the front seven, whether it's going to be Omar Norman, Asher Gillette, depending on what George Karlaftis is going to do in his contract year. So I even think that, like, even for Spags specifically, his job might not even be that hard as it was previously, because he's not installing a defense with younger players. These guys they're young and they're around, they're hungry and everything, but they're also veteran because you've been their defensive coordinator and they've had this amount of success over the last near half decade.
But they, like for me, it's Norman Lott, Gelati, like these guys, whether they're the real deal and like this high impact guys this year, they're going to be soon enough. What did they do? They took 5 defensive players, I think, in the first 5 rounds, something like 4 in the first 5 rounds. Like those are going to be guys that after this year will almost certainly need to be contributors. Like they have to be ready to roll because they're not going to be able to keep all these players. We've talked about it a billion times. They're going to have to make some hard decisions. The more these guys can get acclimated now, whether they're, starters this year or not,
Mhm.
the better it's going to be for extending this, this franchise's window to win Super Bowls.
Yeah, we always talk about like a player sitting down for a year or whatever the case may be and learning the position when it comes to quarterbacks. But the same is true for just about every position. And sometimes we talk about it with left tackle, where Kingsley Suamataia might have needed it last year, and whatever the case might have been, whatever that looks like. But it happens, especially in the case of the Chiefs, where they have basically a full secondary. But like what we're saying, a lot of those guys either are going to leave and get better offers elsewhere, or the Chiefs are just going to be able to afford them, whatever the case may be. And so guys like that they just drafted this year are going to be expected to step up sooner rather than later. So I think you're absolutely right.
All right, let's talk about what you wrote for Arrowhead Addict here. Felix Johnson is our Chiefs insider. That is one of the places you can find his work. A dome. Look, if the Chiefs come to the state of Kansas and they don't put a damn dome on the stadium that we're paying for, it will be criminal. It can't even be a question of if a dome. If they're building a new stadium and don't allow there to be a roof on it, I don't care if it's a permanent dome, but if it's not like you ain't getting $4 billion and not putting a roof on that thing so we can use it when the weather sucks.
Oh, for sure.
Like, that can't even be a question.
Not only we live in the Midwest, obviously that makes sense. But I think in 2025, if you're building something now, it has to have multiple uses. Just because
you're spending $5 billion on it.
Exactly. I mean, and especially in a state like Kansas, where $5 billion isn't going to go as far as it would in California. I don't know, whatever. I don't know how money works. I'm a sports guy. But at the end of the day, I think that if you're going to move at all, you have to build a dome. But at the end of the day, I think having the Kansas City's whatever you want to call it, advantage, cold weather advantage, when they get it, it is kind of beneficial at times.
Well, make it retractable.
Yeah.
I don't care what the Chiefs play under. I care what the stadium does for the state of Kansas.
No, for sure. I care about the concerts and the events and the other things that are going to happen there. And like, obviously, if Kansas City wants to get a Super Bowl, like it'd be more likely to have it under a dome, especially in February when weather is more likely to be snowy or rainy or whatever, just crappy. So it's more likely that you're going to get a Super Bowl and just more things in general, whether it's NFL or not. I mean, who knows, a Final Four at some point. So there's a lot of different things, I mean, that you can do with a dome outside of just football. And I think it just behooves. That's why Clark Hunt is just like, yeah, let's just go ahead and get a dome.
Now, as far as the Chiefs, and this is what you wrote about, I mean, if we're talking 2031 here, Mahomes maybe is still a part of things, which, look, I don't know that they can redefine themselves. I don't know even how much anymore you change based on the weather. The Chiefs playing as bad a weather. What are our bad weather teams right now? The Chiefs, the Bills, the Ravens,
the AFC teams.
They're all high octane offenses. Like playing outdoors doesn't hold any of them back.
Absolutely, and I think it is kind of interesting when it comes to like the contenders in the AFC, because all of these quarterbacks have found a way to throw the ball well in the cold, with the exception of like Lamar Jackson, but his game, he's obviously effective in other ways. So I think that at Kansas City, they do have an advantage. Like when we saw a couple years ago, Miami comes into town and it plays in the coldest game. Now, it's not going to happen like that every single year, but you might get a Houston team coming in on a 20-degree wild card game. And so like it does help out when you have different things like that. And even in especially where Kansas City is, and especially how the playoff seeding works out, even if you are the 2 seed, as high as you can almost get, you still might be playing in the wild card. So you might as well get as every advantage you can. And that's playing in Arrowhead and Kansas City. You saw that when they played Miami just a couple years ago.
It'll be there. And again, I don't mind if it's a retractable roof.
Right.
They don't do those very often. It doesn't feel like anymore. Arizona's, is that the last one with a true like retractable roof? They didn't put one in Minnesota. They didn't. The LA stadium, is that I don't think that's a retractable
No,
roof.
I think that actually is a retractable roof. It's just like super cool because it's
Okay.
LA.
Okay. Dallas's does. I mean, it'll be fine. Just put a dome on them. What's your take on all that? You want them in Kansas? You're a Kansas guy.
I don't care. It's still a 3-hour drive. Like it's
Yeah.
either way, it doesn't matter one way or another to me. It's just, to me, Arrowhead has its benefits and obviously the nostalgia of it all. But if you can build a dome, I'll pay a couple more dollars in taxes, I guess.
You won't unless you go use it in the state of Kansas.
That's
you
true.
Won't.
That's
yeah,
true.
Only if you're going up to the game, at least for now.
Yeah.
Only if you're going up to the game. So what should we be watching for then, Felix? As we look bigger picture across the NFL, not just the Chiefs. We've got camps coming up. Like what are some of the things that you really think should be needle movers in this summertime before we get to training camp truly? But these are mandatory workouts coming up here next on the NFL calendar. So any particular holdouts we need to be looking for, any particular, battles. Obviously, Pittsburgh needs a quarterback. We've got the post June 1 cut thing that I never truly understand as it comes against the cap. What should we be watching for?
Well, I think what's interesting, and it's not even that interesting because it's Dallas. But Micah Parsons is going into his second week. He's not participating in organized team activities. And it's just another instance of Dallas holding. Like, we know you're going to end up paying Micah Parsons. That's something like, he's that dude. He's one of the 3 best defensive players in the league. And you're just holding off paying him because you're going to have to end up paying him until or somebody else is going to get paid before him, and his price is only going to increase because guess what? Micah Parsons is probably better than the guy that just got signed. So you're only costing yourself money, Jerry Jones. And so that's why it's even more frustrating to talk about, is that it's just Jerry Jones waiting to pay somebody else again. And so like it's hard to talk about of like Jerry Jones, like here we go. But I think the most interesting division to look at as a whole would be the NFC North, because last year, obviously, everybody was good in it. I think we're going to see some type of flip in it because I think Minnesota's still going to be very good, but J.J. McCarthy's their quarterback now. Detroit, we might see somebody slip off because they lost both their coordinators. Frank Ragnow, their center, retires this week, and so we're seeing some things shift around. And so I really like the NFC North as a division, and I'm interested to see where they go as the offseason progresses.
Educate me on Kirk Cousins. What can happen with him? With Atlanta, with the post cut or whatever it is, the designation, is that something that could happen with him? Is he in play? I guess for me, like, is he in play for Pittsburgh?
I think he's the better play for Pittsburgh because he's as good of a quarterback as Aaron Rodgers is, and maybe slightly worse, but with way less baggage. He's not going to be Aaron Rodgers, obviously, but neither is Aaron Rodgers anymore. So I think that you can get Kirk Cousins and be fine because you're Pittsburgh. They're going to win somewhere between 7 and 9 games next year, and Kirk Cousins can do that for you. They're not going to win a Super Bowl, and Kirk Cousins nor Aaron Rodgers is going to do that for them.
Yeah, but there's like I guess there's a financial component to him too.
Well, and Kirk Cousins, he's going to be like one of the richest quarterbacks to barely ever play.
Well, but Aaron Rodgers has still got to get paid. It's not like he's going to come play for Pittsburgh for free. So it's going to have to be one of the two.
Right. And it makes sense for Atlanta to offload Kirk Cousins because you've moved on, obviously. You moved on before you even signed him, it seemed like.
Yeah, I think there's a better chance Kirk Cousins refines what he was 2-3 years ago than Aaron Rodgers.
For sure.
Because what is he? He's 2 years from this will be 2 years from the Achilles, and
this will be year 2, yes.
Yeah, and then it'll be year 3 for Rodgers. So last year it'd be for both, wouldn't it? It'd be for both of them. Yeah, he just got hurt later in the season.
Yeah,
than
Rodgers just got hurt on the 4th snap of the game.
Yeah, I think we saw it from Rodgers. I think we saw last year what Rodgers has in the tank, and it's better than they got out of Russell Wilson.
Even with Rodgers, like his last season in Green Bay wasn't that good, and then he got hurt in New York, and then we saw last. So it's been 3 years since we've seen Aaron Rodgers be good.
And he's older than Cousins.
Exactly.
Whereas Cousins last year struggled, but he still very much was in that early stage of an Achilles recovery. This is the most anti-Pittsburgh thing ever. Anti-Mike Tomlin, anti-the Rooneys. Like, how have they even put themselves in this situation? I don't get it. I don't understand it.
Well, I think it's kind of one of those things where when you never bottom out, like we never want to see anybody tank. Like players never tank, but organizations do. And this organization, obviously, like you said, you listed off all the names that are involved with it. They're not going to tank. They just refuse to do it. And so I'm not even saying that like, oh, the Pittsburgh Steelers as a unit are wrong for that, but they're not going to get a quarterback and until they bottom out and draft one, and they pass on Shedeur Sanders. Not saying that he would have been the correct choice, but
they tried.
He would have been a choice. They tried with Kenny Pickett, but that also didn't work out because he was Kenny Pickett. So I feel like you kind of have to bottom out, and he was the 20th pick of the draft or whatever year it was. So you kind of have to bottom out and get one of those top 10 and more likely top 5 picks, or trade up if you want to do that, Pittsburgh. But you're probably in a world where you have to offload a TJ Watt or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just it's crazy. It's crazy to imagine that they let go of 2 quarterbacks that would have been at least as good as what's on the table, and there was never anything else on the table if they weren't going to draft one, and there's
talk of them trying to grab another offensive contributor outside of DK Metcalf. I was like, you just traded George Pickens, so like, what are you doing?
Yeah, for who to throw to him? I mean, good luck, Will Howard, a guy that we all root for. Will Howard, but he's got the best shot to me right now in the room of doing something like it.
That would be awesome. I'd be happy for Will Howard, but. He's Will Howard.
He was a 6th-round pick. He was what he was. All right. Felix, we'll find your work at Arrowhead Addict. You can follow Felix on X at Felix R. Johnson as we make our way through the very, very small window of what you might describe as a slow season in the NFL, but it'll be gone before we know it. Felix is right. Get ready for your fantasy football drafts. Now's the time. There goes Felix. We appreciate that. We'll get Tommy back in the next segment. Before we hit the break, though, let's give away our other thing today, some HTO. You can win HTO right now, featuring the all-new, just launched Cherry Iced Tea. That's right. It's been one of the more requested flavors ever. The recipe is in. Cherry Iced Tea is available. You can get that or any of the other 25 flavors of iced tea, sweet or unsweet, by texting the keyword T to 20357. That's T, 20357 is the number. You can enter once per day. Message and data rates apply. Good luck, everybody, in our second giveaway on Sports Daily. Don't forget, you can win the Crestview Golf as well. Same number, but the keyword to that one is golf to 20357. Round of golf for 2 and cart included. We are feeling generous here on Sports Daily. All right, we've got another full segment to go here in this hour, and we will do it with more headlines. What's going on with the NBA Finals? We touched on that briefly. Maybe just a little quick spray of all the other headlines happening in the world of sports. It's coming for you. We'll get Tommy back at Sports Daily. Don't go away.
Lightning, hail, tornadoes, flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts, so you can plan ahead and stay safe, no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app, brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite, or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, Tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
They're not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood, written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
Jim Rome here, lighting up your afternoons on The Jim Rome Show. Catch me starting at 2 on Wichita's #1 sports radio, Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
What is GMFB Overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of fantasy. It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together across the country and right here in Wichita. Odyssey also delivers meaningful radio and digital audio results. Find out our story and impact at odysseyinc.com/Wichita.
Make yourself known now. 83101 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Welcome back in, everybody, to Sports Daily. Glad to be here with you. Thanks to Felix Johnson. If you missed anything with Felix, you can go back and listen on the Odyssey app anytime, any place. Just download the Odyssey app and search Sports Daily, search KFH. You can also leave us your voice messages there, which is really easy to do. You can just click the little microphone, and it's right there for you. We appreciate it, whether you're listening to us over the air, watching us on 12 News Connected, on social media via Facebook, X, YouTube, or that Odyssey app. We appreciate you any way it goes as we get ready to enter the, it's the good news for us is we have the Royals the last couple of years, but this is the slower season for sure. I mean, we just got through state track where We've got golf will, kind of come onto the radar here a little bit stronger. We'll finish out the College World Series, and then baseball gets that short time to kind of dominate the NBA Finals. I mean, it annoys me to talk about ratings, but they're not going to be big national needle movers this year with Oklahoma City and Indiana. Doesn't mean they're not going to be awesome. I think they have a chance to be, but it is that time of year where we're sort of in that doldrum.
Max has let me know, by the way, that we do have a voice message from the Odyssey app about the NBA Finals, and
there we
so
go.
probably going back to our conversation at the very top of the show. So I believe Max has that queued up and ready to go.
Hey guys, I may be one of the rare people that's actually excited for the NBA Finals. I think it's an opportunity for us to see a potential new dynasty at its birth, not just with how good that current roster is and how young that roster is, but they have a ton of draft picks here in the coming years that they can either acquire new young talent with through the draft, or they can trade away for some veteran pieces that might help them be even more powerful here in a couple years. But also wanted to touch base on Scotty Scheffler. I think I saw a stat that he has more wins in his last couple of events. He's got 3 wins as opposed to the Colorado Rockies that have 3 wins in their last 29 games. So they both have 3 wins in about the same amount of time. Pretty unbelievable what his game's doing right now. Have a great day.
I love
Good
that.
stuff. And who did we get a name on that call? Good
Good
message.
So Andy.
Good job, Andy. Good stuff. I think that's all good stuff. You read our minds. Those are all things that were on my mind for this last segment. As far as, look, the Thunder and Pacers, I think there are lots of people that are excited about it because they're 2 young, awesome teams. Again, I don't know why we care so much about, what are we, the TV networks now? Who cares if it's going to be the highest rated or the lowest rated, just in an individual? If we were seeing ratings for the league tank for an entire year, I think it's more relevant. Yeah, there are fewer people in these home markets. Of course it's going to be lower, but who cares? They're 2 good young teams. I hope that it's an exciting series. My fear is that Oklahoma City dominates the series. I don't even care how many games. I just want the games to be close. If it's 7 games, but they're all blowouts one way or the other, to me, that's not a good series. But if it's 4 games and they're all down to the wire, last second type of situations, that's still a good series to me. So that's what I hope for. I don't know about an Oklahoma City dynasty, Tommy. I think it's a challenge for them because they have retention issues. They always have. Now, you never know. Every player is different. Every group of players is different. You might be able to talk them into making Oklahoma City home base, but more often than not in the NBA, small market dynasties seem to be more difficult than they are in the other sports. Football, Kansas City's a small market. We all just assume all the Chiefs players want to be there, right? And they'll keep them there. There's a salary cap. Oklahoma City will have the financial capacity to keep all their players, or most of them, if the players want to stay. The challenge with their last dynasty is none of them stuck around. I mean, Russell Westbrook did, I guess, the longest. So that's, I think, what you don't, that becomes the unknown a little bit for dynasty with the Thunder. Will they be good enough? Yeah, I think they could be. But can they get everybody to stick around, I think, becomes the bigger challenge.
I think they've got staying power for sure as a franchise from the foundation all the way up. Is that a dynasty foundation? Is it like what we saw with the Warriors, where this team is going to just roll over every other team in the NBA year in and year out and win consecutive titles over a stretch of several years? Probably not. I don't think that that's the definition of what this team is. But can they be contenders every single year? Absolutely, I think they can. I think there is enough parity in the NBA right now that the era of the super team is kind of past and gone and done. I mean, just the fact that we've seen different for now, but at least, the fact that we've seen different champions every single year for what was that, 7 or 8 years?
A lot. Not even repeat finals appearances.
Exactly. I mean, there are so many teams that are there and they're knocking on the door and they're contending. There are probably more teams in the NBA right now that feel like they can win a title than maybe ever before.
Right.
There are only a handful of teams that, you can look at right now and be like, yep, they're not winning the title. But by and large, I think a lot of teams have championship aspirations, and the Thunder are absolutely one of them. But is it a realistic expectation that even with the young talent, even with the draft picks, that they're going to be repeat champions consistently? I don't think that's a realistic expectation. But I
don't
absolutely
either.
think they can be contenders. I absolutely think they can be in the mix every single year for sure.
Well, yeah, so can Denver, right? So can the Celtics. We'll see what happens with Jason Tatum. There's a lot of teams that are going to be in the mix. You go back, like San Antonio's the one that jumps out. They were able to be a little bit dynastic in the smallest market, right? They won that first one and then went a few years, but then they won one in 2003, 2005, 2007. Waited a while, 2014. So that stretch from the year in the early 2000s, I think that would probably be a dynasty. And there were two different versions of it within it, which it also takes. It's hard. It's harder for the small market teams. The Mavericks faced this forever with Dirk, right? You've got one of the best players ever, and they just couldn't get free agents to get in there to help him. And finally they did, and they won their title. And they got Tyson Chandler and Jason Kidd and those guys to come in. So but they got to get one first. You got to get your first title. They were good enough in the regular season, and maybe this is to the point Andy was trying to make. Well, last year, did they lead the league in wins last year, right behind the Celtics? They led the Western
They were right there. They were right there.
So they were already on this path, but now to be a dynasty, you have to win the championships. Dallas had the most wins over that stretch, I'll bet you, than anybody for those years of Dirk, but they only turned it into one title. That's not a dynasty. They won all the games, but only got the one title. And they should have had two. They blew it against the Heat. The Thunder had all those wins with Kevin Durant and James Harden and Russell Westbrook. Never got the titles. It's not a dynasty. It's a great stretch, and a great thing for the city and all these. It's not a dynasty. You got to win the titles. So they got to get that one first before we can say maybe they could be a dynasty. They still have to win the finals. And to your point, I don't know that that's ever been more difficult than it is right now. And I think I subscribe to there is more talent than ever before. And it just is kind of spreading out naturally. At least maybe there's not the top end, but I don't even know that that's true, right? I don't know what it would look like if Jordan was playing in today's NBA. That stuff's impossible to who knows? Who cares? Honestly, who cares? But what's it going to take for a dynasty? I don't know, because there's a different best player in the league every year.
And I don't even really think that necessarily matters. I mean, I'm not sure.
I don't think it's a bad thing. I just think it's different.
It's a bad thing, but I don't think it matters. I don't think that the Thunder are thinking, okay, well, we are primed and prepped to have a dynastic run over the next 4 or 5 years, whatever that looks like. I just think they want to win their next game.
But they got to win. They got to win the first one.
They got to win their next series. They got to get their first championship, and then from there, they've got the pieces to be right back in the mix. I do think that even though it might be more difficult than ever before to have a dynasty in the NBA because of the talent level and because of just the parity from a bunch of different teams, I do think that the Thunder are set up better than most to be able to repeat as champions. If they're able to win this one, I do think they're set up better to be right back in it next year and to contend, because they've got those young pieces and they've got we've just seen the growth of the foundation of this team from, I don't know, how many years ago was it when they really bottomed out and they started this rebuild?
Not that many.
3-4 years ago. We've seen a consistent ascent. And I don't think even if they win the NBA Finals this year, I don't think that ascent is done necessarily. I think that they would probably be set up better than most teams in the NBA to win this year and to be right back in the mix next year.
Well,
whether or not you define that as a dynasty, I don't know. But
it can't be defined as a dynasty until they start winning championships. Could be the beginning of one. But to the point of the draft picks, I mean, it's wild, wild, wild. They'll have 2 this year. They'll have 3 in 26. They'll have 2 more in 27. All of those picks they just acquired and acquired and acquired and acquired haven't even fully come to fruition yet. So that's the Andy's point. They are set up to extend this out, I think. You just have to now, and it's a front office that don't you have as much faith in that front office as any front office in basketball? As far as talent evaluation,
100%.
as far as pushing the right buttons. So it's not like you've just handed Nico, whatever his name is, Nico Harrison, Nico whatever. Like you didn't just hand him 9 picks, right? That doesn't.
You're talking about one of the most tenured GMs in the NBA, and Sam Presti. He's been there forever. He's done a phenomenal job. Like, yeah, I mean, I've got complete faith in that front office where, you know, you look at the fact that there's been no repeat champions for the better part of a decade. If there's going to be a team that could do that, I mean, I think most people thought it was going to be the Celtics, but it wasn't.
Well, it might have been if Tatum doesn't get hurt.
I think
it's
that
not going to be now next year. Or this
I think
year.
if any team is set up best to do that, it's going to be Oklahoma City.
I will agree with that. They are the most equipped. Real quick on the other point of Scotty Scheffler, and I'm glad Andy brought it up because I wanted to ask you about it. Is this abnormally good, or is this just kind of normal, par of the course for, you know, the appropriate term for a Scheffler expectation? Is he playing better than normal, or is he just kind of playing his deal?
He's playing Scotty Scheffler golf, which is head and shoulders above anything else we've seen. I mean, we've not seen a stretch of golf like this, and I even go back to last year and when he's just been dominant since Tiger Woods. And there is staying power with that. There is consistency with that. And what he does, the reason why I say he's playing Scotty Scheffler golf is because he doesn't beat himself. He gets into the position to win, usually at the end of the day on Saturday, and then he doesn't give up the lead. And he doesn't falter. He doesn't make mistakes. Everybody else is looking up at him. They're chasing him, but he doesn't do anything to fall off the top of the leaderboard. He just goes out and he plays his game. And it's kind of like rinse and repeat every single week with Scotty Scheffler. That's why I say, like, it's not abnormal. It's normal Scotty Scheffler, which is better than the rest.
Okay. So knowing that, and we've got, what do we have? 2 majors left?
Yeah.
How many majors does he win this year?
I think he wins one more. I think he at least gets either the US Open or the Open Championship, one of the two.
Okay, you mean the British Open. I'll die on that hill. All right, let's take another break. We'll come back. We got more Sports Daily. Don't go away.